The Dubai temperature right now, 34, feels like 43. Hong Kong score, 149. Will feel like a lot more. They will surely feel buoyed by the fact that their batting lineup has put on a show that most didn't expect them to. Hong Kong, China, 149 for 4 in their 20 overs. Nizakat Khan, a very interesting innings of 52 of 38. Anshuman Rath struggled, but the bigger number next to his name is not 48, it's 46. It's the number of balls he faced and the time he spent. The Sri Lankan bowlers will not be pleased with what they put on. Lots of wide, some wayward bowling as well, but 150 to chase. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. I've got Murali, Kartik and Simon Doull on the show to tell you about what they made of what Hong Kong did and what Sri Lanka should have done. Firstly, how surprised are you?
Not surprised in the sense that happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way you can say, because all our predictions have gone out of the window. But having said that, you wanted them to improve. Yeah. That's what, or that's the principal reason why these teams are playing, and that's the principal reason why you want them to play. And the most important thing is they've had an improvement from game 1 to game 2 to game 3.
Sure.
If Sri Lanka is possibly a front runner to lead from this group, and that's what we all thought, they would not be happy with the scrappy performance that they've put. Some of their lead bowlers weren't up to scratch. We saw the dropped catch, we saw a few misfields, and just the way they were not shooting sharp. That's what I would say. They were not the ones who would be happy with this performance. But on the other hand, Oman and the spirited effort that they've shown, starting with Zishan. I know Anshuman Rath didn't have that kind of a fluent innings, but at least his possible role, which he played like you, the sheet anchor role, I think it allowed Nizakat to flourish in the end. So, all in all, Oman will be very happy.
Simon, very often in this format, we tend to get sucked in by words like flair and intent. But today, I suppose doggedness is the right word to use for Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think that opening partnership allowed them to be a little more aggressive when they needed to be a bit more aggressive. Sri Lanka weren't at their best, but I'd rather sort of just say that they were, Hong Kong, China were a much improved side again, and we've seen each game. I think they've played much better from a batting point of view. Zishan and Rath got them off to a good start inside the power play with that 41 opening stand, and then just a little slow from there until that Anshuman Rath and Nizakat partnership came together. So, it just allowed them to be as aggressive as they wanted to be late in the piece when they weren't that many wickets down. Problem is, you try and put 170, 180 on the board inside the power play, lose 2 or 3 early ones, and you're just chasing the game from there on in. We talked about the anchor role the last time I was on this show, and we all think there's no room for an anchor role, but in tough conditions on difficult batting surfaces, and it didn't look like a road, it didn't look like a flat surface. I think it's a really good score. Sri Lanka will feel like they can chase it down, but it's not a 120, 130. It's a really good score, and I think a much improved effort. I was pretty impressed with how they went about their work.
Nizakat as well, there's something about him. He does seem to have that spice. Pakistani born, 33-year-old, 11th half-century in T20 international cricket for him. Only the second Hong Kong player to do so. This has to rank very high in his career.
He'll be mighty pleased with the way he played, or the way he has played. The kind of solidity or the kind of impetus that he has provided to this rather fragile batting lineup compared to the other teams that they're up against. But Nizakat has been a shining light for them. I think just the way he played today as well. Again, the key word is they're not easy conditions for any batter to come in and start hitting from ball 1. For him to be able to do that, and also to get a half-century. Not too many half-centuries in this format. I think we're into game number 8 and only 8 half-centuries in Asia Cup. That tells you how tough the conditions have been. They've been low-scoring games. I know some of the opposition, you can't say that they are the creme de la creme, but having said that, it's not as if the other teams are also getting half-centuries for fun. So from that point of view, whatever he's achieved for the side, and just the way he's played, that could have been a difference between a 120 and the score 149 that they've put up, and it's mainly due to, or largely due to, this acceleration from Nizakat, and just the way he's played, just the way he's controlled, and just the confidence that he has showed while batting.
The score was 57 for 2 when Nizakat came into bat, Simon, in the 9th over. They were going at about about 6 and over, and then he went on to score at a fair clip, 137. The strike rate, 4 fours and 2 sixes. He does seem to have the power in those wrists, those forearms to clear the ropes fairly well.
Yeah, a little bit of steel in his determination as well. I think that's one of the things you noticed today. There was a bit of a look in the eyes of, we know how poor we were in game one. We were better, but we want to show what we really are about. And it'll be up to the bowlers now. But I thought his innings just showed, and his ability to hit, all around the ground pretty much. He hit some nice boundaries through the offside, was strong down the ground late. And as we know from most subcontinent style batters or batters that are brought up in that area anyway, the wristy shots are always going to be there. But I thought he was pretty composed throughout that innings and picked off the bad ball. He certainly wasn't, it wasn't for lack of trying. Any time he got an opportunity or saw a ball that might have been, anywhere near his wheelhouse, he looked to really put it away to the boundary. And, strike rate of 138, you look at the scores over 40 in this tournament or over 50 in this tournament, not too many are striking better than 138, 140 because of the conditions. So, again, a really good innings, and innings that's given Hong Kong, China some, a semblance of an opportunity. If they can knock a couple over and put some pressure on Sri Lanka, who knows? They could walk away with an unlikely victory at the end of this tournament.
Right. You spoke about how it was a fairly cautious power play, and then, of course, Nizakat Khan's innings allowed them to score as many as they did. Now, take a look at that. Just 7 and over in the power play, and then they went on to score only 5 and over in the next 4. How would you look at Anshuman Rath's innings? A strike rate of just over 100. Is there a different kind of lens you would look at in innings from an associate player? Or would you say, no, it's all about format, and this format needs you to score at 120, 140, 150?
Yeah, I think I would. He struggled. And at times, I don't think it was for lack of trying. It was just the fact that he couldn't find the middle of the blade for a long period of that innings. You probably want to see post that 7 over mark when you've got a lot of wickets in hand, 7, 8 over mark, when you've got that many wickets in hand, you'd like to see him take more risks.
Yeah.
And that was probably the one thing that was lacking, was the risk-taking, trying to do something slightly different, maybe through that 7 to 11, 12 over mark. I think would probably be the area you would want him to pick that scoring rate up, or you let someone else do the job. So that would be the small criticism around that innings. Once he was set, he really did need to try some different things to up that strike rate a little bit.
6 bowlers used by Sri Lanka. Is there a way to understand what went wrong with Thushara? Was he trying too hard? What was it?
I think what surprised me from the seamers especially was the lack of slower ones on a track like this. You think of Thushara, we spoke about how accurate he can be. He's gone at 9, Dushmanta Chamira. Again, looking at the opposition, 7.25, he'll take it. But again, were they at their best? Maybe not. None of them tried slower ones. That's exactly what surprised me. Vanindu Hasaranga, not the kind of wicket-taking penetrativeness that we saw or we would like to see from him. Charit Asalanka, slightly expensive. Mahesh Theekshana, actually slightly wavered, but I actually thought that when you look at his economy, it's still fine, but he nearly bowled one outside the cut strip.
Yeah.
So not exactly sharp or not exactly at their best. And again, from a conditions point of view, from the wickets point of view, especially against HKC, I'm surprised that they didn't try enough slower ones. I think that's what we saw yesterday, both sides, Pakistan and India, especially Bumrah, mixing it up so much on a track like this, which is sticky. So I was surprised that I didn't see enough of that from either Thushara or Chamira.
Thushara, for you, what could he have done better, Simon?
I don't mind the fact that first over he was trying to get the ball up and look for some swing.
Yeah.
But from then on, I totally agree with Kartik. There wasn't enough just into the surface. Even if it was slower balls back of a length into the pitch or just a good hard length. We saw, was it Chamira's first or second ball just fly through past the left-hander to the keeper.
Yeah.
And then we saw a couple stay quite low. On these sorts of surfaces, you've got to use your slow ball. So Kartik's absolutely spot on. But you also just got to bowl a good back of a length delivery because some will go through, some will stay low. I thought they looked for the swing Well, he looked for the swing a little bit too much, too often, and got too full, and then wide, and then just wasn't quite on it at his best. And it might be the Cricbuzz curse. Seems like we build a player up pre-game, and then they just happen to let us down consistently. What are you doing, fellas? We give you all this airtime. We give you all of this grace and promise and positivity, and then you just let us down. I don't know.
If only we had so much power. If only we'd all be sitting on millions. I'm sure you guys are already, but we will let that go. Now,
don't let that go. Simon, the only other person I know who's done more work than Alan Wilkins on every sport is Manish Batavia. He does marble, he does seven stones, he does everything, and he's telling us, well done, Manish. We got one back on you.
Lesser models have to work harder. I'm like a taxi on hire. Anyway, I've got to get your views on Theekshana. He tends to dart them in very quickly, usually.
That's his speed.
As part of his developmental process as a bowler, especially in T20 cricket, would you suggest him to bowl a little bit slower?
No, not at all. Because his style of bowling is such that his deception comes from his speed. So whatever he mixes up, people or the batters can't pick him from the hand because of the speed of his arm. So it's very difficult for him to slow. He's not the old school classical off spinner. He's a sort of this, that and everything else. You'll see him bowling the off spin, the carom ball. So he's a mixed bag. So he can't bowl slowly. If he starts bowling slowly, then he has to be like Ramesh Pawar, which he's not. Or an old school Graham Swan sort of a bowler. No, he's not. He's a mix of everything. Yeah. And the pace through the crease and the quickness of his action is what sets him apart. So, no. For him, accuracy has always been the key. And I think the odd times he missed it, but he got away with it. But yeah, he can't bowl slow. Sorry, no chance.
Two in one for you. Is the mystery around him fading? One. B, he is not Sri Lanka's first choice spinner. It is Vanindu Hasaranga. What does he need to do to address both issues?
Look, Vanindu Hasaranga also bats. And also he's seen as somebody who is a wicket taker. There are certain people who have this charm and who've got this knack of picking wickets. So Vanindu Hasaranga is one of that. But when it comes to Theekshana, look, I do rate him as a bowler, especially in this format, because he does the tough job. He bowls in the power play, he bowls some tough overs, and he has got it. There are times when you're slightly lacking in confidence, and that can happen in any format, not just in T20, that you need to be at your best. But having said that, in spite of him being slightly wayward, it was not that bad.
Simon, for you, how do you look at Theekshana as an overall package? His bowling, his fielding has also been criticised often. He does seem to drop catches.
Yeah, that'd be the one area I'd look at. I mean, Hasaranga is a three-dimensional cricketer, isn't he? He's a brilliant fielder. He can offer you something. I sometimes think he underachieves with the bat, Hasaranga, at times. But he offers you enough with the bat that he can get you a game across the line. Theekshana is really just a one-trick pony as far as the bowling is concerned. Yep. He's not great in the field. He can hold a bat without being, a genuine lower-order player. But he doesn't really offer you the other two skills that Hasaranga can offer you. Just had a quick look at his numbers. 66 T20 international. He's got less than a wicket a game. Now, you would expect in the conditions that he plays in more often than not, that he would, he'd be above a wicket per game in T20 international cricket. His economy rate's very good. It's under 7, 6.97. So he doesn't tend to go for a heap of runs in this format. He just doesn't always pick up wickets. Is he getting wickets for the guy at the other end? That can happen as well. That can benefit Hasaranga or Sri Lanka if they're bowling in a combination. And sometimes you do see that with one particular bowler who's quite economical, but the guys at the other end tend to pick up the 4 for 40 or 4 for 30 when he's bowled 4 overs, none for 20. Yeah. So that can happen. So it's not always just one way to look at that side of it. But as I say, I think he's more only a bowling option, whereas if you've got with Sri Lanka, what they normally have is they have a batter at least who can bowl, and then they have Hasaranga who can do all three formats, all three disciplines very, very well. So that's probably why he's not really first choice when it comes to being the number one spinner. But he offers, some pretty good options on surfaces that are slower and lower, and totally with Kartik. His greatest skill is his speed, but it can also be a bit of a nemesis for him because he doesn't get his length right.
Yeah.
That's when you see him get hit. And because he's so quick and it doesn't do a lot, it just does enough. He gets hit downtown more often than not when he errs a little bit fuller.
And there are bigger tests coming for Theekshana up ahead in the tournament if Sri Lanka go on to reach the Super Fours. Now, 150 to win in this game against Hong Kong. A look at the Hong Kong 11 will tell you there are 6 bowling options, including Kinchit Shah, who bowled well in their first game. In the second game, bowled only 1 over. Would you recommend 12 overs of spin to Sri Lanka? Pace off, make it tougher for them to hit?
I think that's been the key, isn't it? That's one of the reasons why Sri Lanka went for 1 extra spinner. And even with Hong Kong and China, we've seen that the likes of Yasim Murtaza, Kinchit and Ehsan Khan, although he did let me down, like the way Simon said that we bigged them up and then. But they're the canny ones. They are the smart operators. And you would like to see them operate and bowl the important overs as well. Take the onus upon themselves to bowl the important overs. That's up to Yasim Murtaza because he's the skipper. But these guys are good enough. I think they can do a job. We saw them even against Afghanistan bowl pretty nicely. So I would want the spinners to take the lead role.
Simon, stick to the basics, the way to go for Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think so. I would say, try and come quite hard in that power play at Sri Lanka because they will come hard at you.
Yeah.
Think about Nizakat and Mendes up the top. They'll come hard. If they can just create a little bit of panic, pick up a couple of early wickets and put Sri Lanka under some pressure, that will be the way. I think if they sit back and wait for a mistake, Sri Lanka could tear them apart inside that first 6, 7, 8 overs and break the back of the chase. So to me, I'd like to see Hong Kong come hard at them, be a little bit aggressive, set, just to slightly maybe do something a little bit different from a field point of view and get a slip in for the spinner early on. Those sorts of things, just to make sure that Sri Lanka feel like this 149 might be, more like 169, 170.
And hang on to the catches. They dropped, I think, 5 catches in their first game.
But they were much better second game. I don't think they dropped any if I'm...
Yeah, the outfielding was pretty good.
It's been a better show every time around. Yes, Ehsan didn't bowl well in the second game. He bowled very well in the first game. But
get over it now, Mr. Kartik.
I needed for you to get back at me, so that's why I gave you a chance.
Sri Lanka bat as deep as 8, so should not be a problem unless Hong Kong, China pull a trick out of the bag that will really set this tournament alive because we haven't seen close games at all. Even India-Pakistan while India won and was great to see, it wasn't a close game by any stretch. So this tournament does need a spicy game that goes down to the wire. I hate that cliche, but we are expecting this game to at least give us something to get excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. We are hoping for that as well because whatever we predicted that one person said 93, one person said 89, one person said 101. They have done us one better, in fact 2 times better, getting to 149. It's been a spirited effort. That's what we want to see from them. That's what we've got. And hopefully with their bowling, they're not big names, but as a collective unit and as a collective bowling unit, I'm pretty sure they can do a job. As Simon said, maybe somebody like Ayush Shukla angling the ball away from the left-hander, setting those kind of fields and using the spinners smartly. I think if they can get a couple, maybe they create a bit of a flutter.
Nisanka Mendes, considered a fire and ice kind of combo. Would it be fair to expect Pathum Nisanka to go out there, make a statement from ball 1? Does he go after them? Or does he say, only 150, take it easy, take the win, go back home happy?
You want me to do some mind reading?
Please do.
I'm not able to read you sitting next to me.
What should he do?
Look, I think it's a feel thing, isn't it? On a day when you go out there, you have a few preset notions and a few feels about your own game. But after a couple of deliveries, sometimes you feel good, you go after it. There are times where you've seen some of the best batters. There are times where the guy who's expected to be the hitter has played a smaller role or a sleeping role, and the guy who was not expected to hit comes out all guns blazing. So it's a feel thing. So it's very difficult for me to be the, crystal ball gazer here.
Right. There are 2 Mendeses, Pereira and Hasaranga as well. Lots and lots of batting options, so should not be a problem. The only problem is all of us here in this building got our predictions wrong in the first innings. And yet we need one more from you. Simon, you go first. Power play predictions.
I think they're going to come hard. I think their new ball is going to be a key. So I'm going to say 63.
Wow, I like that.
I'm going 52.
I'll go 66, 11 and over. Sri Lanka making a statement. Enjoy.
I'm supporting Hong Kong.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be a good game. Maybe HKC will push SL, and you and I and Mr. Kartik will see you on CBC. Cricbuzz Complex.
What about Mr. Doull?
He's going to chill. We'll see him on our post-game show.
Okay.
We'll see you later on.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's one of our own. We'll see you at the turnover mark on CBC. Cricbuzz Complex. Bye-bye.
Oh, CBC.